This session's about the merger of Onyx and Avenue.ca. Probably many of you don't know even what Onyx is, so we'll talk a little bit about that. But before I start, I'd like to do a land acknowledgement and acknowledge that since I'm in Ottawa, I'm on the traditional unceded territory of the Anishinaabe Nation. We are all in different places, so you may be in a different traditional Indigenous territory. Please take a moment to reflect on that and acknowledge it. So, as I was saying, we'll talk a little bit about what Onyx is, because I'm sure many of you from outside of Ontario especially don't know what Onyx is. So Onyx is Ontario's non-credit adult ESL and FSL web portal. And like Avenue.ca, it's designed to support blended and online classes using PBLA, portfolio-based language assessment. Also similar to Avenue, Onyx uses the same open source software, a WordPress web portal, and Moodle for the learning management system. And this has made merging the two sites feasible. Onyx was developed by New Language Solutions in partnership with the Toronto Catholic District School Board. NLS developed and maintains the site and provides the technical training resources for teachers, as well as learner support resources. The TCDSB has provided much of the PBLA aligned content, and their team has provided NLS with valuable feedback from the end user's perspectives. The Onyx site went live in 2018, so it had more than a 2-year head start on Avenue. As a result, Onyx has significantly more admin tools and ready-made ESL and FSL content, and it has had a an automated course builder and eUnit catalog, allowing teachers to create custom courses since its launch in 2018. The NLS team is currently working on a catalog and course builder for Avenue. Now, this whole experience developing the web applications for Onyx provides us, NLS, with computer code we can reuse, and we can also make improvements to it as we move and add these tools to Avenue. So that's what Onyx is. Now, a little bit of history. So the idea of merging the two sites started in 2019, and in 2020, NLS submitted a feasibility study to the provincial and federal governments. This led to discussions between the two governments, and in the summer of 2022, NLS was asked for a work plan and budget for our team to merge the two sites. These were approved, and work began on the merger in September 2022. The merger of Onyx into Avenue will be completed by the end of August 2023, so in 4 or 5 months. By that time, all Onyx content, its user accounts, and learner e-portfolios will be migrated to Avenue. All tools and web applications on Onyx will be available on Avenue at that time. And Onyx will be taken offline September 1st of this year. Well, I think this is an important slide, why it's a win-win. So the merger is a win-win situation in many ways. For starters, the two governments will be able to cost share this portal instead of paying for two separate websites that essentially do the same thing. This could also lead to efficiencies in content development, minimizing duplication. Taxpayers should also benefit from this more efficient use of public funds. It's also a win for New Language Solutions because we no longer have to maintain two sites. NLS has a small development team, and if we only have one site to work on, we should be able to make improvements to Avenue more quickly. It also allows us to be more focused and create a better product. Now, many of you want to know about teachers. So after the merger is complete, teachers will benefit from having more PBLA aligned teaching resources and other content, as well as access to new features on the portal. We'll come back to this later. There are many Ontario teachers who work in both IRCC and Ontario's non-credit adult ESL funded programs, and they will no longer have to use and learn two different websites. And ditto for learners. Many in Ontario attend both Link and non-credit adult ESL programs. They won't have to use two different websites for the two different classes, and they'll have a single e-portfolio for their artifacts. Learners should also benefit from a much wider selection of learning resources in their courses. Administrators and teachers will have access to new course management tools that track attendance. There is also a teacher management function available to program administrators on Onyx that will be moved to Avenue. We'll take a closer look at these in a few moments. And developers will have a more streamlined process on Avenue to revise content that has been published in the new catalog. This process will allow their revised content to be updated in the catalog quickly and seamlessly. The older update process for the for the Onyx catalog was quite laborious. And sometimes it took days or weeks for an update to a unit to appear in the catalog. And there are many benefits for Onyx users, but we won't discuss those during this presentation for the Avenue community. Most of you attending this session are teachers, so we'll spend more time looking at some of the benefits of the merger for you. One of the biggest challenges for teachers on Avenue has been finding appropriate learning resources. Currently, there are around 63 newish units and modules on Avenue covering CLB literacy and levels 1 to 8. And this is not a lot. 63 divided by 9 levels, or say that's 6 or 7 per level. Some have more, but Avenue also offers legacy CLB aligned courseware that was created by NLS more than 10 years ago, and this is still widely used. That's the SCORMs, and that's the predominant or most popular activity in that courseware. There are a lot of useful skill building activities in the legacy courseware, but some of it's getting outdated. Onyx has far more ready-made content for teaching ESL and FSL, and all of this will be migrated to Avenue. You can see in this slide there are over 360 ESL eUnits, many of which are PBLA aligned and include skill using and assessment tasks that can be used to create artifacts in the ePortfolio. New occupation-specific language training courses and work-related content will also be available on Avenue as a result of the merger. All of this content will soon be available in Avenue's new module and eUnit catalog. The user interface in the new catalog on Avenue will be very similar to Onyx's eUnit catalog. It will allow teachers to search the eUnits and modules by keyword, browse the collection, and filter by CLB level and theme. Teachers will be able to read detailed descriptions of the eUnits and modules, as we see here. And they can even preview them in Moodle. The Avenue developers are reusing the Onyx, the code for the excuse me, for the eUnit catalog and adding more features, such as making it easier for teachers to locate PBLA aligned content and modules and eUnits with assessment tasks. I'm going to just change places here now and show you. We're looking at the Onyx site now, and I'm just going to give you a glimpse of the interface for the looking at eUnits. So here is the main Onyx portal, and I can either click here or here to browse the eUnits. So I'm going to browse the eUnits. So here we see 363 eUnits. Well, we started to pick a course. So if I choose if I click on one of these thumbnails of an eUnit, I can get some more information. So let me go to this one, just for example. So here we see the descriptions and outcomes, what it contains, who it's suitable for, the target level. And here I can preview the unit if I click on it. So I'm looking at the unit in Moodle. So the teacher can just, it's like a one-stop shop. You can come in here and look at the content before you choose it. I'm going to close this Moodle, and actually I can open, if I want to open see the unit plan, I can do that as well. So I can try the activities if I want. Going back here, so I'll just go back to the main page and show you how you can filter and browse and search for units. So over here on the left, we have a keyword search. So if I wanted to search for, I don't know, Canada, it will search and come up with all of the units that are relevant to Canada. That was a pretty general topic, but you can see here. So if I want to narrow it down to a CLB level, I can do that. Click on these filters, and you can see it's all suitable for CLB3. I'm going to reset the search and just search by theme. So let's go for academic. There aren't any tags. This number here shows how many units there are in that category. So there's 24. And if I wanted to choose it, make a course with, say, these 3 units, you can see here I've selected the units. I'll select a couple more. And if I click request course, I get taken to a screen where I have the units I selected. If I want to reorganize it, and so when the course is created, the units are in this specific order. I can give the course a name. The instructor is automatically populated. I can specify the organization. In fact, in Avenue, it's going to be automatically populated with the organization. If you're in a big organization and you have multiple sites, you can specify that. And you can choose the start and end date. I'll just show you this option too. So if I wanted to add these to an existing course, I can also do that. So these are my courses on Onyx. So if I chose this course, these units would be when I click send request, these units would be added to the course. So that gives you an idea of what's coming to Avenue. It's very exciting. I'm just going to exit now and go back. And sorry, I have to stop my screen sharing and okay, so we're back to the PowerPoint. So as we just saw, there will be a course builder linked to the catalog that will create a custom course for teachers based on their catalog selections. After making their selections and requesting the course, Avenue teachers can reorder the units in the course and then fill out a form with the course details, such as the name and start and end dates. The course builder will allow teachers to add content to an existing course, and this should enable teachers to keep their courses much smaller and more manageable while still meeting the needs of their learners. So one of the problems with the current system is we give teachers, when they ask for a new course, we have to give them all of the content appropriate for the CLB levels they requested for. So in the future, soon, we won't have to do that. You'll be able to go in and choose your own, the units, the content you need. And we would say, encourage you not to choose a lot, choose what you know you need, then you can always go back and add more. Another feature being added is the resources tab from Onyx, which will have a lot of useful information for Avenue users. The content for this was developed by the Toronto Catholic District School Board, and it provides learning strategies and resources for CLB 1 to 4 and 5+ learners, and teaching strategies and resources for instructors, as well as a section for administrators. If you can see a screenshot of the tab, but if you're a student, for instance, you wouldn't see those tabs for the instructor or the administrator. So users of the Onyx site have access to many administrative tools that are not currently on Avenue. We'll take a closer look at these course and teacher management features in the next few slides. So the attendance, this slide has two screenshots. The top one is the panel on Onyx that is similar in functionality to the class register, with the exception of the attendance section on the right side. The lower screenshot shows a close-up of this. It is used to track student participation in a course. The first row, so that I'm talking about this, represents in-person attendance, and teachers would check these boxes manually when a learner is present in class. The middle row tracks online attendance during scheduled online classes, and it will populate automatically if a learner is in the course at the scheduled time. And the third row will populate automatically too. It tracks online participation in a course outside of the scheduled times. So teachers have to schedule these times. And this slide shows the panel on Onyx teachers use to schedule an online class. Learners logging into their course during the scheduled time will automatically be marked present in that middle row in the previous slide. So of course there's training to show how to use this, and something similar will be added to Avenue. At the end of the course, Onyx teachers can click the X portal button on the left here, and clicking OK in the large panel will generate an X-Portal attendance report. The X-Portal report is a type of attendance report used in Ontario non-credit adult ESL programming. This same function, though, could be customized for reporting for linked classes in other IRCC regions. At the start of a session, Onyx teachers can go to the course management screen, click the edit welcome message, click this edit welcome message button, and then create a course welcome message to send to learners. So they would edit, you can edit your message here, and then click the button on the right, send welcome message, and it goes to all learners in the course. There's also a button which is not visible on this slide, which allows teachers to send messages to individual students. So if you have latecomers joining a class with continuous enrollment, you could still send them this message. The teacher management tool is shown here. This slide shows the panel on Onyx, which allows a manager at a language training provider to set up accounts for teachers. After setting up the account, the teacher is automatically enrolled in an introductory teacher training course. This training prepares teachers to use the courseware without editing capabilities. So that's one of the big differences between Onyx and Avenue. Avenue teachers are trained how to add activities themselves, create activities, whereas on Onyx, teachers cannot edit their courses. They're just given these courses and they use them. And so that's a feature, a benefit for them. When they come to Avenue, they're going to be able to participate in training that will allow them to edit their courses. And a program manager role will be created on the Avenue portal to allow a manager to access the teacher management panel you saw in the previous slide. This new role will eventually be available to link managers. Initially, it will only be available for managers in Ontario ESL and FSL programs. An admin assistant role, I think this will be popular with some teachers too, will be added to Avenue. This role will be used by, or can be used by, an admin staff in an organization to register learners on the site and enroll them in courses and manage their enrollment. Currently, only the teacher role can do this. So that's what I have to show you, and I'm going to jump ahead to some questions that came in, and then we'll open it up for any questions that in the chat. So the first question, will there be a need for training on how to use the merged platform? Well, I think it's pretty obvious. The answer is yes, there will be training for that. There won't be a need for training for the LMS or your courses. That won't change. But some of the tools that are going to be available will come with training. Question 2, will the names of the two platforms merge as well? No, it's going to be Avenue. So Avenue is staying as Avenue. Onyx will be no more. Which portal is better? Both have their own strengths, but I think the real answer here is the merged portal, because there's going to be a lot of new stuff or combined real synergies that have gone into both sites that will benefit everyone. Question 4, I'm wondering why the school board used Onyx in the first place, because even though they were on Tutela, the listening activities could not be downloaded for use as listening assessments, for example. So this comes back to the comment I made about teachers on Onyx not being able to add their own activities. So teachers now that will be moved from Onyx to Avenue who choose to take some more advanced training will be able to, for example, download content from activities from Tutela and add them to their courses. And just on a side note, you know that we're working with Synergic, who looks after Tutela to integrate the two sites. So we have a unified login now with Tutela. And soon, it's taking a little longer than I expected, but soon teachers will be able to go to Tutela, browse, and there'll be a directory or a folder where you can add content into Tutela, and you go back to Avenue, and in the file picker, the content in that folder will be available in Avenue. So you won't have to download these items. You can just kind of seamlessly move them across. Question 5, will the current software be upgraded to accommodate the higher amount of users and more materials? I think it's fairly, well, it's necessary, and yes, the answer is we will, instead of having to maintain 2 different sites, we can pool the resources together and provide a much more robust server system. In fact, Big Blue Button is already shared between the two platforms. And the last question was obviously answered or asked by an Onyx teacher. Will the tasks completed in Onyx transfer to Avenue? And the answer is yes. We will be migrating all of the Onyx e-portfolios to Avenue. So let's see who has accounts, or questions. Maybe you can help with that, Paul. I hope there's a few questions.
Yes, Jim, there were a few. You've answered a couple of them already, but one of them is wondering about Onyx teachers. Will they be non-editing teachers on Avenue until they've taken some training?
Good question. They will be in the instructor non-editing role. So not exactly a non-editing teacher. A non-editing teacher can't turn editing on and show hidden topics or activities or resources. So this is a custom role we've created, the instructor non-editing role. So it's the same on Onyx. So a teacher will be able to get a course and show the content, but they won't be able, I think they can even move the topics, but they won't be able to add anything new. If they want to go beyond that, then they would need to take go into stage 2 of the training, which supports the editing role.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Jim. That pretty well catches us up in the chat. Does anyone have any other questions they'd like to ask? This would be a good time for it. What would happen to existing Avenue and Onyx courses? Will teachers need to build a new course, or will old courses still be available?
That's a really good question, actually. Eventually, we're going to have to start managing courses that are dormant on Avenue. Like some of these courses are 6 gigabytes. There's some of the, I think the big link 1 to 7 course is like 9 gigabytes. And if you've got a number of those, it consumes a lot of space. And let's face it, they're very difficult to manage too. Some of the big courses, when you turn editing on, it gets very slow. So we're going to come up with some kind of solution. We'll maybe give teachers an empty course and they can collect we don't want teachers to lose content or activities they've created, obviously. So we may provide teachers with a a shell of a course and give them an opportunity to move these activities into a safe place, so they still have access to them. They're not nothing's going to be lost, but eventually we will need to address that issue. Right now, there are a lot of courses that are dormant, that are not being used. Some teachers have a lot of courses. Some teachers have massive courses that are probably not very well designed and maybe frustrating for students and frustrating for them because you know, it's slow to navigate, slow to load. So we'll have a solution for that, I'm sure, eventually. And please don't worry that you're gonna lose your work, because we don't want that to happen.
Thank you, Jim. That's a relief to many, I'm sure. Another question has come in. Participant says, I have an Onyx account. Should I create an Avenue account now or just wait for the transfer over in September?
Yeah, if you have an Onyx account and you're not teaching Link, you would not be eligible for an Avenue account yet. We're going to migrate all of the all of the accounts on Onyx to Avenue. We've developed these tools to do that. I don't know when that will happen, but in terms of timelines, we're going to have some for Onyx, not for Avenue teachers. We'll have some orientation videos available in June sometime to help learn about the transition and about Avenue. You won't have access at that time. It's doubtful. We need to finish it. We've started the merger in last September, and it's a very big project for us. And we need to have all of our everything lined up, all the tools, and you know, it's quite a you can imagine from the funders side, you know, how they're going to just divvy up the costs. So it's going to, we have to make sure we're separating the ESL and the Ontario users from the IRCC users and the courses and so forth. So we need to get everything in place before we're going to start moving teachers from Onyx across to Avenue.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you, Jim. Another question is, will there be a clear out of old student accounts, perhaps accounts that have been not used in a year or more? They're wondering if this will help free up some space.
Yeah, you know, the actual accounts don't take up a lot of space. It's just code in the database. Certainly the e-portfolios could take up space, but it's generally all these question banks. Like you get a course and it's giving you a huge amount of content with question banks, and a lot of it isn't used. So that's really where the space is. But we will be eventually having to address the dormant accounts too. The last count I saw on our system was there are 65,000 Avenue accounts now. I think on Onyx, if I'm not mistaken, it's around 17,000 Onyx accounts. A lot. We won't move the dormant accounts. You know, we can separate those. We won't move all accounts from Onyx to Avenue, but the accounts aren't at least for space on Avenue. That's not the real problem.
Good point. And if they still have the same email address, having their account, if they could come back, wouldn't be a bad thing. Another question is, will all school boards in Ontario have access to the new Avenue merger with Onyx?
Absolutely. Yeah. Any school board that's eligible to use Onyx would be eligible to use Avenue. Currently, for those that don't know, aren't familiar with the system in Ontario, it's only school boards that can deliver the non-credit adult ESL and FSL programming in Ontario. But I think that's changing as well. There's last call for proposals, Ontario opened it up to other service providers as well. But yes, Ontario school boards in Ontario will have access to Avenue.
Thanks very much again. That clears up the chat, but I did notice, Marike, you had your hand up. Would you like to unmute and ask a question?
It was the question that was being answered while I had my hand up, so I'm good.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Excellent. Well, thank you everyone for attending, and keep watching the newsletter. I think that's one place you can get updates. I think eventually, as we get closer, we'll have a special newsletter for the merger. But you can see there's a lot of work to be done, and I hope you're as interested and excited about the merger as the team at NLS is, because I think it's a great thing that's happening.
Well, I agree, Jim. If you have time, there is one more question just came in. Participants wondering if Avenue instructors will need training to use the merged platform.
Yeah, to use some of the tools. For example, you'll want training for the course builder, for the catalog and the course builder. It is, the user interface is pretty straightforward, but we will be, and especially if you want to use some of the admin tools as well. Yes, there will be training, and we'll definitely announce that in the teacher forum and newsletter. And then I should add too that it will be in the spring that the course builder and catalog is released. It's getting closer. I would suggest by like next month, although we're almost at the end of April. Possibly early June or late May, this will be available. So you won't need to ask your mentor for courses soon enough. You'll be able to go in and request them directly yourself and add the modules yourself too, the content you can request to an existing course.
This is fantastic, Jim. Really appreciate this today. Lots of people saying thank you and complimentary things in the chat. Everyone's looking forward to September. So thank you.
Great. Well, thank you, everybody.